Welcome to the Live Compelled podcast. This is Nate Ellerton. I'm the lead pastor at Compelled Church, Temperance, Michigan. Well, we've been here 29 years. Wendy and I started in our living room, and we love every moment of it. And we have been doing a series of stories where we interview people, and they tell us their story and what Jesus is doing in their life and how they found Jesus. And today, we are honored to have a missionary, Nick Backlund. Hey, Nick, how you doing today?
So good to be here, Nate, with you.
And Nick is from the great Cornerstone Church in Ramsey, Michigan, led by Bishop Todd Winkler.
Bishop.
Hey, he's the bishop of the North. I mean, everywhere I go with him up there, he knows everybody.
He's a relational man.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And Nick came to Christ through his camp ministry, which Compelled Church. We've sponsored kids to go to that camp. And I know he just got done with that. But Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself. In the last 9 years since you became a Christian, man, you have really grown. You've gotten a Bible college degree, and now you are a missionary 1,000 miles away from Temperance, Michigan. So where are you a missionary at? We'll start there, and then we're going to go back a little farther.
Yeah, so I work in a place called Pekanchkum First Nation. If you don't know what the term First Nation is, that means it's just a native community. On the Canadian side, we call them reserves on the American side. So I live in this isolated fly-in reserve. The only way to get there is from a charter plane, or in the winter, you can go on the ice road. If you've ever seen ice road truckers.
Really?
That's where they shoot it, on that lake.
Oh, my goodness.
So all those scenes where people are swearing and they're driving that semi, that's the lake we're on.
I don't listen to swearing, so I don't know about all that. But
that's good for your side of things with God. So that's good. But yeah, so I work on this community of 5,000 people. I work with young people, kind of doing youth pastor work, do a drop-in youth center, hang out with kids, and mentoring a bunch of young guys.
Fantastic. But you didn't grow up in the church. You didn't grow up in a youth group. So how did this all come about, Nick? How did you find Jesus? And then we'll talk about how you were led to be a missionary so far up the globe there.
Yeah, so I first came to Cornerstone through my music teacher. Her name was Sandra. And Sandra really had a heart for young people, but she really had a heart for me, her and her husband. And when I was 16, I was very isolated, really shut off by people, had a tough time with bullying, so on and so forth. So I just kept people away from me. Mm-hmm. But that all changed when I met Sandra, who constantly wanted to be a part of my life. And so she would offer to bring me to church, bring me a youth group, invite her dinners at her house. And after like 2 months of my stubbornness saying no to her, I told her, yeah, I'll go to church with you. And so ever since she invited me on my 16th birthday, I kept on going to Cornerstone Youth Group, and then they invited me to go to camp. And at camp, I just experienced the true joy of God's presence.
Wow.
Which is something I've never experienced before. Peace and joy.
That's incredible. That camps that Todd and Cornerstone has been doing literally for decades. I remember over 15 years ago, we took our youth group and I spoke at them and we counseled. We did that a couple years. So it was a long time ago, maybe more than 20 years ago. Maybe.
You had a group that came in 2020.
Yeah.
With Dusty and all them.
Pastor Dusty came in. That's incredible. Hundreds and thousands of lives impacted by that camp that Todd does. Just super great. And so you got saved. You started going to Cornerstone then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell me what you experienced the first time you had an interaction with the bishop, Todd Winkler.
I call him the Husky Boy. His mother called him Husky Todd, but I call him Husky Boy in the beginning.
Yeah, did he like that?
Yeah. Well, my first interaction with Todd is I used to wear these work boots because I didn't have money to afford actual shoes. Mm-hmm. And so I had these boots where the flap every time you would step would make a clap noise. And he came up to me one Wednesday. He's like, man, could I just buy you a pair of shoes? And I've never had anybody in my life ask to do that, especially a man. And so Todd bought me a pair of Converse, but I didn't understand the shoe size at the time. So they were size 16.
Whoa. Whoa.
I know. That's a big shoe to fill.
Well, you do have big feet.
That is true. But yeah, he was the first guy to ever take an interest and do something like that in my life.
Wow. That's incredible. And you started going to Cornerstone, and then you went on. How did you end up going to North Point Bible College in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, so I got saved in 2016. Yeah, I immediately got baptized because I'm a jump on the bandwagon kind of person. So if I feel like I should do something, I just do it. A lot of times I don't think about it, I just go for it. And probably a year after being saved, after you go through the highs and the lows of being a born again Christian, I just really felt God pulling me to do a ministry of some sort. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was going to be a pastor. I didn't know what it was, but all of a sudden I was in the library at the school and I was looking at Bible colleges and I could just feel God pulling me towards Grand Rapids. And I've never been downstate Michigan. I mean, the only place I've been during that time is northern Michigan. And so there was a couple in our church that brought me down to Grand Rapids and I got to see all these Bible colleges. And Todd threw out your name and I gave you a call and asked you about North Point. And you told me that's a school your boys went to and so on and so forth. And I've never even seen the campus, but I just felt right about it. So I applied and I got accepted. And that's kind of how I started going to North Point Bible College.
Wow. Now I vaguely remember that call. And yeah, all my kids, my daughter went there. Great school. I'm glad you went there. And you went back up. And so how did you end up a missionary?
So during COVID, there was a church that closed down in our area. I think it was called Living Waters. But a lot of their members went to our church, and the missionaries they supported, we started supporting some of them. And there was this old white lady named Colleen Estes. And she works for Living Hope Native Ministries, is where I work for now. And she came during a Mission Sunday where we were honoring 25 years in ministry, giving them $2,500 because that's something that our church believed in, is doing that for missionaries and those who just were loyal to the call. And so she came 2022 and spoke at our church, and I thought to myself, well, that's a cool lady. But it wasn't until a year later where we got one of her newsletters, and she was saying, man, I'm really looking for young people to come and work with me. And I got pulled into a meeting with Todd and some deacons, like, we'd support you for 6 months for an internship if you want to see if this is something God's calling you to. And because I'm a jump on the bandwagon person, I'm like, yep, sounds great. And so had no idea what it looked like, just hopped in my car, went up for a meeting with them, and back in October into November, went up for a week. I just got to see the community. I just really felt God nudge me. This is where I was supposed to be for a season. Now, I didn't think that season was going to go full time, but that's kind of how I got connected with Pekanchkum First Nation and this missionary, helping her work with youth and doing a whole bunch of stuff up there.
Wow. So you're going back for your second year?
Yep.
Or is it third? Second?
We're like in 2.5. So yeah.
That's incredible. And Compelled Church is honored to support you a little bit and help you out. And I hope this weekend, we're able to really bless you and be part of what you're doing. And so we just covered like 9 years and like 10 minutes of your life. And so tell me what it's like, because I know you worked very closely to Todd. Cornerstone, in that time, they bought a farm they do ministry out of. They bought 2 or 3 different buildings, right? He bought a bar. They changed into a fellowship hall.
Yeah.
They now bought a restaurant that has apartments in it, the old ore house where all the iron ore workers worked.
Yeah.
You've been part of that with Todd for all these years. Talk to me about what you have learned. Like literally, you and Todd didn't have Bible study all day. He got you up in the morning. You were like, he sent me videos. You're busting down walls. You're driving tractors. What was that like, and what impact did that kind of work with your pastor have on your life?
I know for me, and I don't really voice this often to him, but I just wanted to do something that was useful and be around somebody that loved me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I went up during COVID, a lot of things shut down and they made you quarantine for a month, which I thought was silly because I was basically doing nothing at the house but look at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But after a month, I texted him like, man, can I just help you do something?
Mm-hmm.
And so really for like probably 2 months, I just followed him around, kind of like a little disciple, kind of like Elisha and Elijah. Come and follow me, and I'm just doing all these random tasks. And I know for me, it's like, yeah, just stay around me. And I know for me, somebody that longs to be with people, longs to be useful in life, I mean, that gave me purpose during that time. And so for me, really, I just stuck around because I loved the man so much, because he loved me dearly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think how he's loved people is how Jesus would love people.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's been 9 years. I've done a lot of things with him, some reckless things, some wonderful things.
Right.
And yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it.
I don't know too many better pastors than Todd Winkler. And I know lots of pastors, but man, he is the real deal as far as investing his life. And you've been a benefactor of that. And he does love you. And I'm thankful for his life.
Mm.
So you went to Bible college, got a couple years of ministry under your belt. What's Jesus been teaching you, Nick, about himself, about ministry, about people? Something come to the front of your mind when I ask you that question?
Yeah. So as I've been working up on that native reserve after Bible college, he started speaking to me a lot about presence and just how being present with people, not speaking, not talking, just being present with them is probably the greatest thing that he wanted me to learn. So back a year ago, we had a suicide crisis up there because, First Nation, Native communities, they really struggle in some areas. And I know for this reserve in particular, they have a huge suicide crisis because they don't have a vision of hope. And so they just don't see past, what they feel. And I know one of the things he was telling me is there was a month and a half where we had over 30 funerals.
Oh, man.
I know. That's like a funeral week almost. And I was sitting with a bunch of guys who lost one of their friends to alcoholism and suicide. And boy, sometimes you get in those situations, what do you say?
Right.
But you know what? As I was sitting with these group of guys, I just felt God speak as like, man, just sit there, don't talk. Sit there and don't talk. And then all of a sudden, God starts working. And you just hear these guys just weep out, and you're just there and you hug them and you hold them and you weep with them. And so what God really started speaking to me was that his presence is our presence. So because we carry Christ, when we're around these people that hurt and grieve so much, I mean, we carry his presence into these situations. And so for us, just being present with him, being present with these grieving people, what I believe is God was really speaking is because you're there, you're present, convenient or inconvenient, I will meet the need, and I'll carry my presence over to that. And so just being around them really shows the God of all comfort.
Great. That's great. What's impacting you right now, Nick? What's impacting you the most right now in your life?
What's really impacting me is I had the opportunity the past, because we're in August, and 9 months. The past 9 months, I had the opportunity to disciple young guys up there. And I can tell you, it brings me greater joy because that's probably the most fruitful thing I do is come along young people in relationship and just get to do life with them, which is something I've really longed to do with young people is just do life with them, be with them, hang out with them, and then work through some of their tough life situations. One guy in particular that God's really been working on is this guy named A.J. Owen. And so back in January, I started hanging out with this guy. I knew him like 6 months previous, but he just kept on coming around my home. And I just kind of like what Todd did with me, hanged out with him every single day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so what God really started showing me was this idea of true discipleship, where it doesn't always have to be like in the four walls of a church, but
Right.
you just do random tasks like taking out trash, getting chased by res dogs. That's another one. And yeah, just being part of their life in that way. And I can tell you, after the past 8 months, he started opening up about so many tough situations. And we get to pray through them. And I got to see God really take this young guy with so many insecurities, so many challenges. It really lift him up out of this miry bog that his mind's been just suppressed in.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm really seeing the fruit of what God has been doing up in that reserve with the young guys I've been mentoring.
Yeah. I think of a stat, Nick, that I read years ago that says kids that are at risk, 80% of them can point to one person in their life that showed interest in them and how they turned their life around. A teacher, a coach, a youth leader, a pastor, a friend. And for you, that was Todd. And for this guy, that's you. Change it all around. And so if you're a coach out there, you have so much influence. If you're teaching, we have a lot of teachers at Compelled. Man, God has put you, whether you're public school or private school, God has put you in a strategic place. We have principals in our church that are ministry minded. They're just so strategically placed to be that voice like you had with your music teacher. It's pretty cool. So, Nick, if you think of appreciations, I know you've appreciated Todd and appreciate him. What are other people in your life that you could say, man, I appreciate them because?
Well, I'd say for me, so we have Todd, we have Sandra Jensot, her and her husband. They were pretty impactful in my walk with Christ.
How so?
Well, Sandra was the music teacher that I met, and she's always been in my life. But
Gotcha.
And we all know Todd, the bishop of the
Bishop
North.
Todd.
But there are two more people that I think about, and believe it or not, one is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the second would be my stepdad as well.
Awesome.
Now, we didn't have good relationships growing up.
Okay.
But God really started teaching me this idea of forgiveness 11 months ago. And I had a very hard resentment with both of them. But I knew for me to move on in life, God had to cleanse that palate and heal some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say it was about 11 months ago that God led me through this way of forgiveness with my parents.
Wow.
And ever since then, I mean, I haven't thought ill thought about them, but I've been more grateful as the days gone by for what they have done.
What's that look like, Nick? We forgave them. You just said a prayer. I forgive them. Did you go to them? Did you what does that look like practically? Because there is a lot of people that have cut off relationships and a lot of forgiveness issues.
Yeah.
What did it look like for you?
Well, God had to wear me down.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was 11 months ago, my dad was leaving me voicemails because I didn't really want to go visit him. And it was just kind of hard going through the same conversation over and over about a funeral. And because my real dad's really just, he's missed out on a lot of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's looking towards the end of it.
Sure.
So that's just hard for any kid to sit through.
Yeah.
And so I was going to be taking a trip to Canada, and I said to myself, I'm going to go visit him when I come back in town. But he kept on reaching out to me, and we were working over at the church camp doing boulder walls. And boy, I was tired. I'm not sure if you've ever built a boulder wall, but if you're really tired, your filter's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go over to his house after that, and it's normally just a 20-minute visit that I'm out the door. There's nothing new, but this visit turned into 3.5 hours. In 3.5 hours, I'll kind of give you a short version. is he started opening up about every part of his life that he wouldn't tell me. Because what he used to tell me is, if you want to know about my life, you can ask somebody when I'm dead. That was how he would respond to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But he started asking the questions like, how did I do as a parent?
Ooh.
Why don't you tell me anything about your life? And so when he got to those questions, I was just completely honest with him. And I just told him, I just felt terribly rejected. And then in the midst of 3.5 hours, we started telling each other both sides of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I got to hear about him and my mother's divorce, and I got to hear about just kind of what his childhood was. And they're pretty similar, ties of rejection on both ends. But when we got to the side of the divorce and I heard his side, I've already heard my mother's side. I just told him, I imagine that was a terrible weight for you to carry. And if it means anything to you, I just want to let you know I forgive you of all that pain and hurt that's caused me through all those years.
So you said that out loud, looking into his eyes.
Yeah. And I can tell you, God's presence was there because I thought I was going to pass out right at the table. Because I got so dizzy. Wasn't sure if it was vertigo, but I mean, you could just see that God was in the room. And he was like, I just don't understand how you can forgive me. And so I told him about Christ and what he did for me over at that church camp that Cornerstone does, which he's never heard anything about that. And so I woke up that next morning afterward, and 20 years of resentment and unforgiveness just gone in a flash.
Beautiful. Well, that's a beautiful story of reconciliation. Man, what a gift. Your dad gave you that day to be there and sit for 3.5 hours, and what a gift you gave him.
Oh, yeah.
I read the other day, Nick, that forgiving is as close to Jesus as we'll ever become. That's all he is. He has to forgive everybody. As close to being like Christ as we'll ever be is when we forgive. And I really thought about that. I'm like, you know what? That's really true. And man, I'm so glad you got to have that conversation with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. So what would you say to young adults, Nick? We got a lot of young adults in our church. You'll get to address them tomorrow. Some of them are stuck. They're going to college for careers that I'm not sure they're passionate about, but they'll make good money, and their parents sometimes just want their kids to make good money more than they want their kids to follow Christ. Not every parent, but sometimes. What would you say to the young adult that is headed a direction they don't feel necessarily like maybe the Lord wants? How could you encourage people your age?
Well, I know for me, and this has been a story for a few people I've talked to the past year, is people are searching for peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell you from my own experience, me following someone else's dream is not peace, but I'm just trying to fill a gap. And so I know for me, I just want to be in the presence of peace wherever I go. And if I'm going a direction that is not bringing me at peace, there should be a red flag there.
Yeah.
And so my encouragement to young adults is follow the Prince of Peace, because he's all peace. And if he's going to lead you in a direction that's peace, he's not going to lead you into hostility, but he's going to lead you into all peace. And so my encouragement is follow what Jesus wants, not what your dad or your mother want. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, because we're all going to him.
Right.
That's all I got to say about that.
And that's all that needs to be said about that. You hit the
right.
nail on the head. Well, Nick, I'm proud of you. I've got to watch you a little bit through the years, and I've been the benefactor of Todd's goodness too. He's a voice of encouragement in my life when I need to hear something positive or have just a good laugh.
Wow.
We talk a couple times a week and pray together. And so thanks, Nick, for sharing your story with us. I know it's going to encourage, and just appreciate you. Look forward to tomorrow, what the Lord's going to do. So you've been listening to the Live Compelled podcast, and our friend Nick Backlund, missionary here. If you have any comments, please leave them and share this with somebody. Just push share and just text it to somebody. And please subscribe and continue to live compelled by Christ's love. God bless you. Have a great day.